Welcome to Suitcase and Chardonnay, the podcast where style meets storytelling and where we blissfully blend travel, fashion, food, wine, and intentional living. I'm Renate Engelbrecht, your host, and this is a space where you can find inspirational lifestyle tips, explore beautiful local and international destinations, and share slow, luxury moments and the little details that make life feel richer. In this second season, we are leaning even deeper into life's unique experiences. From boutique hotels and family weekend escapes, to thoughtful food and fashion, soulful conversations about wine, creativity and conservation, and the art of slowing down without losing your sense of adventure. Whether you're listening on a morning walk, planning your next getaway, or simply craving a moment of inspiration, you're in exactly the right place. If you love lifestyle podcasts that celebrate travel, fashion, food, and wine, go ahead and follow or subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And if something resonates, save it, share it, and let it travel further than we ever could alone. Now, if you're ready, let's go. This month, we are leaning into the theme Sensitive Souls See More. And I just love how that resonates with fashion. Because in the end, it's not necessarily really what we wear. It is what we notice. It's what we feel when we put something on. It's what we see with the different textures in our wardrobes. And once we are a little bit more intentional about what we wear and how we put things together in our wardrobe, it's interesting to see how differently we approach fashion in the end and purchasing items from the store. So I wanted to take you on a bit of a journey today on this episode and kind of, do it with a bit of a different approach, I suppose, as to the normal fashion podcast episodes. But I thought it was important for us to also just pause and take a look at how we can approach fashion from a different angle once we have slowed down and once we are a little bit more sensitive about how we look at fashion. In a world that moves at a very fast pace, it takes some skill to be a bit more aware about what you wear and to approach it with a bit of a more intentional approach, looking into slow fashion and cost per wear and things like that. And I think, this fast-paced world kind of pushes us into a direction where we feel forced to buy fashion that is linked to trends. I don't think it's necessary to always buy fashion that is on trend because it's not necessarily something that fits your style. That's number one. And also, trends tend to be quite fleeting. So, buying fashion with intention becomes very important in the end if you want it to have a longer lifespan. So in today's episode, I am sharing a bit of a winter 2026 edit, I suppose, but with a different angle or from a different lens. We're going to take it from the angle of slow fashion and intentional purchases. And I'll guide you through what I think are some of the items worth investing in this winter season, but also what to skip this winter and what not to buy or what to be careful of when you go to the shops. So without further ado, let's dive in and see where this episode takes us. So before we get into the current winter trends, I want to just shift the way that we think about them. Because if you are someone who feels deeply, who notices the smaller details, trends can often feel a bit overwhelming. There's always more to buy and more to keep up with. But what if instead we approached fashion as something more intuitive, something slower? What if we ask ourselves, do I love how this feels? Will I wear this in different ways? Does this belong in my life? Not just the season? This is where concepts like cost per wear become so important, because a piece you wear 50 times is far more valuable than something you wear once, no matter the price tag. And often the most special pieces, they are the ones we already own, the things that we already have in our wardrobes. Or often it could be a pre-loved item that we discover at a thrift shop with a story attached to it. So yeah, it's just a different way of thinking, I think. So what is really worth investing in when it comes to fashion this winter 2026? I think one of the first things would be a good winter coat. Now, listen carefully, because this is one of the top things that you will need to have in your wardrobe and something that you would want to wear for a long time. So this is something that you need to purchase very carefully and very intentionally. So look for something that's not just another coat. It has to be something that feels like you. And I think one of the best places that you can find a proper good quality wool coat would be the Karoo Winter Wool Festival, taking place between Middelburg and Graafrenet in the Eastern Cape. And it's taking place early July. So diarize that, because that's the one place where you'll find a really, really good quality wool coat. And you'll know where it comes from. So yeah, keep that in mind. But also, if you are looking for a winter coat, a vintage coat that you find at a thrift store could be just as special. As I said earlier, these finds in these type of pre-loved shops always have brilliant and beautiful stories to tell. So don't forget about shops like that. It's always worth popping in and see what they have. And then something you can layer over almost anything. Something that has a color that works with most things. But I mean, a winter coat you can style in so many ways. I've seen it worn with sweatpants and a hoodie with the coat over that. And I've seen it worn as only the coat with some nice heels. So there are so many different ways to style a beautiful winter coat, and it is so versatile. So yes, I think that's your number one go-to. If you don't have that in your wardrobe yet, that's the one thing that you can invest in this winter. Another item to invest in would be tall boots. These tall riding boots have returned into the trend world. So I think it's definitely worth investing in a good pair of leather tall boots as well. They kind of have a way to elevate a look and make it chic and almost give you that urban look. So it's a versatile type of shoe or boot that you can wear with many things. You can wear it with jeans, with skirts, with dresses. So yeah, definitely another thing worth investing in this winter. Then it seems that leopard and cheetah prints are here to stay again. And it's become a bit of a neutral almost for 2026. So I am just always very careful to purchase full outfits in print. I would suggest investing in accessories that have the print, for example, a bag or even a pair of nice ballet flats or these nice sneakers that you get these days. If you have the means, you can always invest in a pair of nice leopard print sneakers. They look quite nice with some jeans and a red sweater. So definitely worth looking into. But yes, of course, it's also a personality thing. If it doesn't fit into your style, then don't buy it. Don't buy it just because it's a trend. I think it's important that you buy things that you know you'll wear and things that you will feel good in. So yeah, if you wanted to bring in leopard print or cheetah print into your look and you don't want it to be overpowering, then maybe just bring it in with a bit of accessories, even if it's just a headband or, like I said, a handbag or your shoes or even a nice scarf.
Suitcase and Chardonnay is a space for curious minds, romantic souls, travelers, foodies, wine lovers, and curators of a beautifully lived life. If this episode resonated with you, you'll find even more depth, visuals, and storytelling on the blog, where each conversation continues beyond the microphone. Explore it all at suitcaseandchardonnay.co.za and join the community by following along on social media.
Once again, remember that pre-loved items can always come in handy. And when it comes to accessories, it's sometimes quite easy to find specific things that you are looking for. And older pieces often have, better construction. They were better made and more unique. They've got different or more unique silhouettes, and also a sense of individuality. You won't find anyone else on the street with something similar, so it makes it a bit more unique and authentic to your style then. Keep in mind that texture also plays a very important role in your style. Sensitive souls notice texture. Things like the softness of knitwear and the structure of leather or the warmth of wool. So instead of chasing trends, maybe focus on building outfits through tactile richness. Layering textures creates depth in your outfit, and with that, you don't necessarily need to add much more to your look. So often you can really just achieve this by simply restyling your pieces that you already own, or sourcing timeless fabrics secondhand. If you do need to invest in some textural pieces, things like a cropped knit would be very clever to buy this season because it's very trendy at the moment and it goes really well with high fitted jeans or even a high fitted skirt. Think cropped sweaters, cardigans, and knit sets for a modern, polished, and proportion-conscious look. Leather is also not going anywhere this season, and I love that because leather is also a texture that really resonates with this time of year. It's definitely continuing to be a key trend this season. Sometimes the styles just differ a little bit, but I think the way we approach it this season is what matters most. So rather than buying something that's really trend-led, look for something that is classic. Look for classic cuts and neutral tones, things that will always be in fashion, and then also pieces that age beautifully. Obviously, if you buy a real leather jacket, that is something that will age beautifully. So buy cleverly and intentionally when it comes to leather items. Again, pre-loved is your go-to here. A well-kept leather jacket or a bag often looks even better with time. So if you can find one that's been pre-loved and has some character attached to it, why not? Currently, brown is a big color this season, so a brown leather jacket could be a great fit for this winter season. And then also look at jackets that have a bit of structure. Currently, funnel necklines or roomy bombers and jackets are quite popular, and they offer a relaxed but powerful silhouette. There's also a bit of a suede revival, so if you can get your hands on a suede jacket in perhaps a tan color or brown or even olive, then that's probably a good buy for this season. Don't throw away accessories this season. I think it's very important that you keep in mind that these things are what make an outfit often. So instead of buying new outfits, maybe just play around with what you've got in your accessory drawers. What if you simply styled your existing outfits differently this season? Have a look at what you've got in your wardrobe and perhaps mix and match a bit and see what you come up with. This is really where your accessories come in, things like belts and scarves, timeless handbags. So I think it's important that you know what you've got and you play around with that and even mix and match different colors. Sometimes it's interesting to see which colors go well with others if you just open your eyes a little bit and look at it from a different angle. But yes, it's also easier to find accessories than to go out and search for a specific trendy jacket or top or whatever. So if you can get your hands on a vintage handbag, for example, or a locally made belt, go out and support these local brands. I recently actually published a blog post about the best belts for this season, and in there I actually feature quite a few really nice local brands that you can support. So go and have a look. There are a couple of really good real leather belts with links, so have a look. I'll also just pop the blog post's link in the show notes below. If you're a lifestyle, travel, fashion, food, or wine brand looking for a multi-purpose platform to collaborate with in telling your brand's story, please reach out to hello@suitcaseandchardonnay.co.za. Suitcase and Chardonnay is a blog, podcast, and social media company, and under the same brand, I am also a freelance writer who writes numerous articles for various publications. I would love to work with you in telling your brand's story, so feel free to reach out and let's share your story together. Another trend this season is tonal dressing. So if you have a couple of items in the same color in your wardrobe, maybe try and see what you can put together. Sometimes it happens that many of those items really go very well together and it's different textures, which makes it even more interesting. So play around with what you've got before you buy new items. If you have to go out and buy a full tonal outfit, that might cost you a lot. But if you just scroll through your wardrobe and see what you've got, you'll be surprised at how many items you actually have that are from the same color color family. So yeah, try doing creams on creams or browns on browns, blacks on blacks, and see what you come up with. I think sometimes that also gives you new ideas for which items in your wardrobe you can actually pair together. So those are the things I would recommend that you invest in or look into this winter season. But there are also things that I would maybe just like to highlight for you not to do this winter season. I think it's important that we are intentional about purchasing fashion. And you've noticed already that I am very passionate about that because I feel we need to be careful with what we buy and what we wear from a wellness perspective, but also from a sustainability perspective. So yeah, that said, first of all, I think we need to be careful not to fall into this fast fashion purchases and impulse buying. So if you see something in the shops that you like and it's on trend at the moment, but you aren't sure, maybe consider if it's really, really something that fits into your personal style, and if it's maybe just something that is currently trendy, but won't be trendy in the, next season. And then just pause a bit before you purchase it and make a good intentional decision about it. I think I mentioned this in a previous episode as well, but there are certain questions that you can ask yourself before purchasing an item. Before you buy something, ask yourself, what will I wear with this item? And also, how often will I realistically wear this? Is it something that you're just going to wear once, or is it something that you'll actually wear year on year? And then lastly, do I already own something that's similar to this? Because sometimes we have 3 to 4 different jackets in our wardrobes, but they're all pretty much the same. So yeah, we need to be intentional about that as well. These small pauses lead to more thoughtful choices. And then don't ignore pre-loved options. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes that is, those are the items that are more authentic and tell so many more stories than new items that you bought at the stores. So I think this one is really a big one for me, because often we go straight to buying new things where we can really buy something that's even better made with, better quality fabric, better structure. So if you can find that one item that tells those stories, I think it's really worth investing in. So yeah, don't throw away pre-loved items, definitely not. The bonus of purchasing pre-loved items also is that it reduces waste and it supports circular fashion. And lastly, it often also gives you access to higher quality pieces. So it's not just sustainable, but it's also stylish. Last but not least, this winter, I would like to invite you to approach fashion differently, to approach it more slowly and more intentionally. Notice things like fashion items that draw you in, notice what draws you in, even items in your wardrobe, not just items in store, but things that you already own. Notice what you reach for again and again in your wardrobe, things that feel nice and things that make you feel good when you wear it. Notice what feels like home in your wardrobe, what really makes you feel comfortable. Because style isn't about constant reinvention in the end. It's really actually about refinement and editing your wardrobe from one season to the next. And I think that is one thing that I have come to learn. It's that you can't create a wardrobe in one season. It's something that you build up with time, and it becomes a story in itself, actually, which is quite nice. And yeah, I think once you have those signature pieces, especially those pre-loved ones that have those stories to tell, items that you bought overseas when you were traveling, and things that really have those strong memories and stories to tell, I think that is what makes your wardrobe extra special. So don't just buy things because it's trendy at the moment. Next season, it won't be anymore. Buy classic things that will keep for long, and buy things that's good quality, things, yeah, that make you feel good. That's all that matters in the end. You need to feel good and comfortable and happy with what you're wearing, and it should speak your personality. What we wear is, in the end, that tells people who we are, and what we like. And I think that's a way for us to portray ourselves without saying anything. So that is why I believe it's very important to be very intentional about what you purchase, not just for sustainability purposes, but also for yourself, to feel comfortable and confident and to enjoy what you're wearing. Winter 2026 does not have to be about buying more. It can be about seeing more and about intentional purchases, about slower fashion, and about also appreciating the things that are already in your wardrobe and reinventing the looks from your wardrobe, playing around with it, being creative. It doesn't have to be a winter where you purchase new items that might just be worn for one season. So be intentional about your fashion choices this winter, and enjoy being creative. And if this episode resonated with you, please subscribe to the Suitcase and Chardonnay podcast and also follow along on social media. I am active on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. And you'll also find the blog on suitcaseandchardonnay.co.za. Until next time, stay intentional and try to see more before you buy more.